Hi guys to everyone. It's Ada from Poison Rock, and we give a welcome back to Travis Bacon from Contracult. So here this time you're like as a Travis Bacon as composer, musician, philanthropist, I can say also. But mainly I want to ask you first, how are you, Travis?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm making a lot of art in tragic world and enjoying that aspect of it.
Okay, so there is a lot, but I saw yesterday, and as we saying out of the screen the recording, that you did a live show yesterday with Contracult, with my dear band Contracult. So how's going in the first? How did it go the live show, and also how is going the world of Contracult?
Well, the Contracult is going well. We've had, a handful of shows this year. No
Mm,
real touring prospects or anything, but we've been working on a lot of new music.
really?
Some of which we were able to showcase last night. So
Okay.
we've been busy with that, and specifically, I can't talk about it, but
Of course.
we had a couple sync opportunities for songs and films, um and with that, like some of the films wanted to use old material of ours, and we're trying to push to have some new material and write some stuff that's like specific to the projects, primarily projects that I'm working on.
Okay.
Um, as a film composer, because I think um there was this period that was pretty special, especially like around in terms of horror and like kind of more somewhat more like extreme new metal rock
Okay.
areas of music and like how that related to horror. Like I think of things like um Resident Evil soundtrack, Freddy
Okay.
vs.
Yeah.
Jason soundtrack, etc. We kind of lost touch with that a little bit, and it's not as often that people are writing like original material um for the visual medium that's there. There's a few cases, but normally they're just kind of taking songs that are already created, and I'm trying to bridge that gap a little bit more and try to and if I can get some sync opportunities for the band along the way, then it's good.
So also as well, not only as a yourself like Travis, but also as a with Contracult itself.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool because I
exactly.
mean the music will really fit in that genre. But I think I guess in a different genre, of course, as well in movies and such. Also in documentaries. I mean, it's a what if it's a good score, it can be fit most of the thing and most of the
That's true.
yeah.
That's true.
And I mean, as well, it fits my at least Contracult I fit at every occasion of my life until now. I mean, I have it's in my gym's playlist, it's my driving playlist, it's my work.
Oh wow.
You know that I love your music. It's I I found out about the music throughout it. I don't was it. I think it was a Shauna O'Donnell or something like that. She was a pretty good PR, and when I found out about Contracult, and since then the music was really there's not even one song track that was not good. And I mean, I am a big fan of the process. That's that you know about the old EP as well. But also you did also the remixed version of it that we I think we talked about already about the
Mhm.
remixed version. So there is new some material that you're working on for that we will see with the time. There are
Yes.
some other live show going on that you think you're gonna do this year or maybe in 2026.
Don't have anything,
Okay.
but definitely nothing for the rest of the year. And then starting to have some conversations about some live shows in the future. I really do. I would love to bring the band on the road and everything. I think just in the area where our genre is, like a lot of the opportunities we get offered are for buy-on
Yeah.
tours, and it's kind of it's a
Yeah.
lot of
But of work.
bands, so kind of bands who had a moment in like the early
Um,
2000s. I don't want to get too
yeah, of course.
specific with names, but
Of
bands
course.
that had a moment with the early 2000s
Yeah.
and still want to tour on a bus, so they take a bunch of,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
inexperienced like bands that are
Yeah.
willing to give them like thousands of dollars so they can
Mm.
do for exposure and like, and I mean the shows the shows themselves might not be worth it for, you know,
Of course.
a little bit of money, let alone like having to lose all that money. So, but
Yeah.
that's kind of specific.
Yeah. But in
Yeah,
general,
but we have some, but there's some other like there's some other there's
oh,
some other artists that are kind of coming up in the scene and do
oh,
similar stuff as us and that we really
that's
care about
beautiful.
that we're trying to like
Some,
we're always trying to orchestrate just like a couple shows here
I
and
think,
there where we can. Last year we went out to play a festival called Dark Force in New
um,
Jersey. That was
yeah.
like
So that I always think that like Contracult could go amazingly touring in Europe because there's gonna be a venue for you any country you go. Like you go
I
from
know.
Germany, France, Italy somewhere, but Germany, France, Spain for sure, also Czech Republic, or like this central line of Europe for UK. That's gonna even the Nordic country like Sweden, Finland. I think
Yeah.
especially Finland. I think it's gonna go literally insane for that because this underground. Yeah, I think Finland. Just keep an eye on the market in the underground scene. Market, I don't like it. In the underground scene in Finland because it's a cool place. Many bands maybe just keep it. Don't think about. They have a cool underground scene, really supportive, and when there is this support, like as a friend, it's really beautiful. And that's something that I really care when there is a not often like a friendship but respect with the artist musician and the understanding. It's even better. You have more fun. But of course I hope to see you also like in Europe, or playing even more. You really deserve it. It's a good project and good music, damn it. And all of you are really amazing as a musician. But also we are also here because we spoke like with my pleasure a lot of times, a couple of times read about Contracult. But now I'm here because talking about you as a composer, as a I because of course I know that you've been doing this for quite a while already, but there has been a release really recently. That's also someone that I interviewed back in the days, someone that has been really known in Europe too. So that it's a movie, right? It was like a 50 to Sunrise that's out now. That meaning that on major platform the movie's available for everyone.
Not yet.
Okay.
It's in a kind of short film
Yeah.
festival rotation, and it's a the film was made uh as a purpose, something called a proof of concept, and the idea is that it's like it's sort of a demo of what could be a feature film and a push to get funding for a feature film somewhere in the future. Which, and you know, I've done a lot of these projects
Yeah.
with and made music for them. And generally speaking, you know, I don't really have the opportunity to release the
Yeah.
music even in, and oftentimes they've been some of my favorite music I've ever made.
Oh,
And
wow.
this one, on the other hand, I was actually encouraged to release it from the director, who just
Good.
really fell in love with the music, and you know, felt that it brought a whole different like texture to the film. When he decided to take a
Good.
chance with my insane ideas for the music and everything. So it was really cool to, yeah, and it was very cool to just have that opportunity to get
Yeah.
it out there and show people it, because I
Of
really am.
course.
I'm very proud of it. It's just like it's one of the it's it's really rare to have such a tight and fluid like director composer relationship sometimes on projects, and this was a really special one, and so special that like I want him to get I
Yeah.
want him to get all the money he needs to make this movie for real, just so I can make more of this music.
That's no, but that's really as well. It's a beautiful idea to just make a short movie, or like as I said in Italian, as a corto, like to release a corto, like a short movie, like just to say like go in this festival to independent movies, and then get a founding for having a longer movie about that. Like
Mhm.
uh, that's and because also you got it's like a trailer of the trailer. You're also you get to understand also the vibe, how people are reacting. That also could work with the production in the future itself.
Yeah.
But that's cool though, and also the relationship that you created with the director. That's, as I said, when you have good people and you have this beautiful relationship of respect, because that's what brought beautiful um, result outside, is the respect we can have for the other person, other artist. It can be really, really beautiful outcome. So this, because I see here 5 songs, so it's the tracks of these that you composed are available then this on that will be available somehow like on platform, or they can be listed on that.
The release is available on all streaming platforms. The film
Okay,
itself is not.
of course.
Um,
So
yeah, and I think that was kind of the idea too, was
okay,
like it just became something in itself that like I, it's obviously related to the film, but
of
I
course.
think it just stands alone as its own release and kind of project right now.
Because of course, so you are, because of course I see here, and we are going to introduce the one. There are, of course, there is this major figure well known in the black metal world, Mr. Attila Caesar, well known from being the frontman of the only one at Mayhem.
Hmm.
And also there is a back Allcraft. So there is a double featuring. You are behind the composing, or you also took part as a musician yourself in there?
Oh, I mean, I pretty much played everything besides those vocals. Yeah.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
just composing and playing both. It's just like the full composing. So the vocals were only about done by them. So you're not on the
Mhm.
vocals there. Okay. And
Yeah, and they were stuff that I wrote and had them do.
okay, and how started this collab? I mean, get in touch with Attila, because it could be like a dream of many young
Yeah.
teenager. Like, okay, well, oh, that's and it's a good thing too, because he's been a lot in production with the for Italian Goblin, this theatrical project, other bands, not only Mayhem. So this is also a good way to show that the world, the black metal is not only a genre, could be sometimes.
Oh, definitely, definitely. So it dates back to 2014. Was it 2000? No, 2016. Excuse me.
Okay, it's okay. A good memory
I
though.
Yeah, 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 yeah. 2016. I was playing guitar in a band called Black Anvil for a
Okay.
while, and we did a tour with it was Mayhem, um, Inquisition.
Okay.
Mayhem, Inquisition, Black Anvil. And yeah, Attila and I became pretty good friends on that tour.
Okay.
And I actually oddly like our kind of our icebreaker, I mean besides marijuana, was was he's a really big industrial fan. Like he
Yeah,
loves industrial music and like he had a band back in the day, even pre-Tormentor or
yeah.
pre-Mayhem, anything called Plasma Pool,
Mhm.
which I knew about and didn't even realize was his project or anything. And we just we locked in and just became friends and kept in touch for years and like I became close to some of I also became like pretty close to his son who lives in LA now like when his son came to visit New York for the first time with his partner like Attila reached out to me for them to stay
That's
with me.
nice.
They stayed with me like and then we did another we toured I think we toured with Mayhem twice actually. The following year we ended up touring with them again.
Okay.
So it was a pretty
Friendships.
strong friendship that just like has existed for a long time. And we had done a little bit of music together. He actually Attila sings on a Contracult song as well on the on at called The
Okay.
Trauma Garden. And so what had happened was I I had an opportunity to make a pitch for a series.
Mhm.
Um and the series had this component that it was about had this whole component where the main character meets like a series of demons,
Okay.
meets demons every other episode. And there's another composer named Mick Gordon
Okay.
who you're probably familiar with. I think probably his one of his first major projects was scoring for like the remake of the game Doom. He's a video game soundtrack. He's a video game composer. And when they did the soundtrack for Doom 2, he had this idea that like I don't really know much about the lore of Doom or the
Of course.
characters, but he had this idea that like there was this he had this idea basically about this choir of these these creatures that the
Yeah.
Doom
Mm.
that like the Doom moniker are battling. And
Okay.
so in order to get those sounds, he rented a studio and got like and hired like I think he got together something close to like 60 different
Oh,
like metal vocalists
okay. Okay.
of the scene and had them all and he wrote these passages and had them all sing it like a choir. So I was really inspired by that and thought it was really cool. And I said I I figured like okay, how could I recreate that? Like who's like I know a lot of great vocalists, but I need somebody who can, like
You-
I don't want just like corpse grinder or something, it's like I need somebody
Okay.
that's like I know is really versatile and does a lot
Of
of
course.
things and like and I mean Attila is obviously most known for his work in
The
black metal, but like he does
a lot. Yeah.
aside from what he's done and cultivated in that project, like he's done these insane like retreats and
Mm.
other collaborations with people, and they're always really magical and special, and like he just does, he knows his instrument is his voice, and
Exactly.
he uses it in every
Yeah.
component he can possibly. So I knew he would be cool for that project. So.
Yes.
When he was in town visiting his son, actually, who still lives in LA, who's also a really good friend of mine, who's like I hire him as he assists and directs
Yeah.
movies that I make. Like he's, like we're very like our families are just kind of pretty interconnected at this point. So when he was in town visiting him, I told him about this project. I'm like, hey, I'm making this pitch. This is my idea. I want you as the voice. And yeah, he came over and we just like recorded a series of passages right here in the studio, sitting on the couch right back there. And
Yeah.
um
That's
and it was super fun. And he locked into all of it. And some of the stuff is like more prominent. You can hear the vocals there. You can hear
yeah.
that they're vocals. Sometimes there's just little like growls and swells and stuff, and it really added a nice texture. Needless to say, the initial project that I pitched this for
Yeah.
wasn't interested in
Mm.
my idea for this and wanted to go for a more full orchestral score for
Yeah.
it and
That is.
whatever. And now the show's canceled. Um, but then when I got hired for
I
15 to Sunrise,
Yeah.
the director wanted a vocal component in it. And I
Okay.
told him about this and I just played him some of the music that I had made with Attila before.
Okay.
And I said, like, I don't want to just, I'm not just going to copy and paste your,
Yeah.
like,
The
and be
music
like,
sound.
now this score is your score. But like, I'd love to work with this stuff and write new things and
Exactly. You're a
make this
musician
work.
also. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically how it came up,
Yes.
and
That's
but it was awesome. I mean, I'm still constantly like impressed with everything that he
yes.
does, and just how open-minded and worldly he is, and like, and especially towards projects that
Yeah.
don't sound like mayhem.
Yeah, exactly. And also, this shows as well your own versatility, whatever it's, your own being versatile, let's say, because you show like you can go through or your music project, your own personal project, and then the composing. And because of course, for being a composer, I must say you have to be really versatile. I'm witnessing my partner being a composer as well for other projects. It's been a little bit for Viking Hava, and so he's doing other project now that of course I can't say, but and I'm seeing him working with sound and playlists and things and sound, and I don't know, taking some from there and this, and I was like, what is all this sound like in the morning, all these tracks that I saw doubled, tripled, and even for making just a small part, I'm seeing that it takes a lot of hours for just a small piece of track.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I can, so you can understand better than me him, and of course that's what I ask him, because he's also a musician. Of course you are a musician and you're a composer. Things are completely different. So how your mind shifts when you compose music for being a musician, like for Contracult, let's say, or in general for bands you had, or then when you compose for projects or movies, whatever they could be.
Well, I think the biggest fundamental difference is you're there to support another medium that's not yours.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it is partially mine. If it's like, I think it was we discussed before. I have a film company. I've made films with my film company that I've made music for.
It's like,
But
yeah.
but I think generally speaking, that is one of the biggest differences. I mean, other people would go more technical and say like, oh, well, it's not as much to a tempo, or it's not this, or it's not that. And honestly, I'm not really one of those people. Like, I don't have like when I'm writing the picture, like I am setting a standard tempo for things, and which might shift as the project goes, but like I'm watching. I'm usually watching a scene over and over again with a click track or anything. I think like people that don't understand like, orchestrative music or whatever it is, don't really know that things actually have tempos to them and think like, oh, well, it's got to be a 2/4 tempo in a pop beat. But I think more than that, it's just like it's just trying to it's it's definitely a lot of like, it's a lot of just human psychology for sure, because you're working with different people who are going to have different opinions of you. They're going to have, I've been on projects where people know exactly what they want. You're not going outside the bounds. You're there to do that work for that reason. Not, they don't want to experiment. They don't want to, it's like it's important for that to be exactly that. And then I've worked with people that really don't have much direction, and they kind of come to you and be like, I need somebody to tell me what my film sounds like. And sometimes you work with people where it just don't work at all, and you got to move on.
No, of course, it's like it's like human relation life with the
exactly,
like as you said, it's human psychology, exactly. But of course, you mentioned your own because slash tag cinema is your, I won't say your own movie company, but it's like is where you release your mainly independent movies.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shared partnership with two people. It's our company.
Okay. So, and with that, you share already, you guys just already released something that you also as well. You worked in the composing music as well.
Yeah.
So because
we all kind of have our, we have our titles in that project, and as far as I know, I'm the composer on all of them. I mean, and anything could happen down the line. I'm down to, I'm not like I have an ego about it, but I'm willing to hear people. I like to collaborate. Yeah.
Of course, I would start this idea of because of course it's you have a lot to do, because it's like people may see you in Contracult, but you are having a lot of good projects aside you, having just working as a but also having your own, let's say you put your own idea as a completely full artist, right? That's what is being an artist. Put in your music, your I don't know, your visual ideas, because I think as well visual count a lot when it comes to music or composing, or even just having a don't want to say a movie company. I don't like this thing. Just all just being in this industry, like what even if it's especially when it's independent, it's even more in underground, and it's even more interesting sometimes because you can
Hmm.
find this the I think the most hidden gems in the independent music and movies. So of course you this is not the first time you did a lot, but if people would like, for example, to get to know more about your own personal, let's say, um, this company, I don't know how to call it. Let's give it yourself a, because I don't like the name company sounds too much about capitalism, so I don't like it.
Yeah. I don't know. You could say
Just
collect,
slash the
I
my
guess
company. Yeah,
collective maybe.
collective. Yes, it's more like it's like a friendly place for everyone. Like, exactly.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's really awesome what we've like cultivated, you know. I think I mean, I was asked recently I was asked recently kind of about, or you know, not even just recently, I get asked this all the time kind
Yeah.
of about like making films or having a having a goal to be involved in a specific part of a film process and everything, and you know whether that be a composer, director, writer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you know my general answer to that is that like I think people that are outside of films and you know, I find this more with like people that are involved in music, like they kind of have this they kind of look at film like it's this like broader echelon to something that they are already doing, and that it's like get to a certain they have to get to a certain like level of people to be around, to be exposed to that or whatever. And I think people lose sight of the fact that it's like the independent film world, especially like anything genre related, horror, you
Yeah.
know, action, thriller, anything
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Exactly.
really not much different than an underground punk scene or a metal scene, you know? And you just kind of gotta, it's like you have to you approach making a short film the same way
Exactly.
you start a band or book a show or a festival or anything like that. And like just that kind of, and you know, just that kind of like camaraderie and being around and showing up and, you know,
That's beautiful.
making little work
Of
trades with
course.
people. It's like, yeah, we get nobody has money, understood. But what if, but you know, if there's a situation of like, hey, if you could shoot this for free, I'll score this for free.
Yeah. Exactly.
If I you could, you know,
Yeah.
do effects on my thing, I'll shoot this thing that you want to
Yeah.
make.
Exactly.
Whatever it might be. And in terms of slash tag, you know, that's sort of how the whole project started. It was me and three friends of mine. We decided we wanted to make things because yeah, you know, we're past this age in the industry or anything where like you can just have a good idea, get the right people around, and
Yeah.
someone's just gonna hand over a hoard of money to some stranger. It's like, no, it's too easy to make like visual and audio media
Yeah.
at this point. Like, and I say easy just in terms of like the technical
Well,
aspect of
yeah.
it. I mean, from point A to point B, and you know, someone's not in a cutting room with a pair of scissors or anything. It's
Yeah.
like it's too simple to do that. That like if you want that kind of attention or you want to move on to make bigger things, you have to make the first three things, first three, five, 10 things any way you can. And yeah, I mean, through it started as three people. It's still primarily in the core three people, but then we have, you know, we've worked on a handful of projects, whether they've been specifically like horror related slash tag
Yeah.
things, or even just some other things
Of course.
that we've needed to shoot or film, and like, and you know, we always work with like we
Beautiful.
always work with the same DP, which is our friend
Yeah, that's good.
Sente, who's shot videos for like Cradle of Filth, Devil Driver, Three Teeth, etc. We always work with Attila's boy Ariane.
Yeah.
He's like always, he lives in LA. He's always the assistant director in our movie. And I think that stuff just goes a long way. I mean, get and then when you same kind of thing of same thing of being in a band or anything, like when you make something, you try to get it to festivals. You go
Of
to the
course,
festivals, you meet other directors, you find
exactly.
ways to work on their project, they work on yours. It's very it's very
It's all
the
about,
community is really strong in that way, I think.
and what you're also explain comparing, like, of course there are different pro and cons about being in the like independent movies and general being like as an independent like underground music is kind of like as a same, let's say, point of view.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
that's like the same. I didn't have any direct involvement myself, but a couple of years ago I had a friend. She was a really good director here in Italy, and she did this TV series online called I don't even remember the name. It was about zombies, but she didn't have any money, so she did buy everything by herself. But this brought a series that was uploaded on YouTube, which is literally, let's say, put it there like it's free. What? But she brought her to just go outside from the underground, literally underground, because there was a zero budget,
Hmm.
and to go in European independent festivals, and even maybe someone higher. But because she had a good team, there was just like friend, and mainly was her doing everything, but was a little bit of friend around, just some local bands giving the music to that. But she did a good job, and
Yeah.
of course life changed, people pursue, people change. She dropped, and then she's working on commercial now. That's a pity. She was really good director though. But these things are at least are left online just as a memory or as curriculum vitae for one that can always help. But yeah, I kind of see that with how the passion she put in that, and I think it's the same passion you're putting in your project. It's important when things are made with passion and effort. Always there's gonna be, let's say, repaid back. But in any case, they're gonna always stays that I think that the good sensation because are done with the heart. And speaking of heart and good thing, one thing that we found recently to talk about is about I seen you on throughout your because I was checking about your recent project. So I went to your own Linktree and I saw a bunch of beautiful fundraising, helping people. So I must say there is a big you have a big philanthropic heart. So there is a, a big heart in general for helping people because you could say like, oh, help my project, help funding my my whatever, my movie, but whatever. But you just are there for helping others. And in the world we live in is you can just maybe choose one cause. You have a lot of cause that you are helping, you're willing to help. So of course the world we live sucks. And if we are not kind to each other, respectful to each other, we never make it, I guess. But especially, I think you can, of course, if there are some calls that people can help also throughout your channel, your link, or whatsoever, even fan of Contracult, that maybe they bought
Mm.
the album and maybe they wanna help somehow because what is lacking the world right now is really help, is really literally helping others. We are destroying each other, so
Hmm.
the opposite. So throughout the
Yeah.
there's I don't there's like because of course I saw for homeless people, but there's a lot of maybe I'm as I said from Italy I can see just what it's out there from the outlet and the media. From your point of view, at least people that are also from you, maybe US, you can maybe direct them if they want to help somehow to support the cause you're standing because I think it's important.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a few links in my bio of organizations and causes that I've been focused around. A lot of it is the people affected by these absolutely horrendous ICE raids and everything that DHS and this administration is pushing on people is just terrible. I
Yeah.
mean, they've made a decision that like they've made a very like fascist-based decision that there are people that deserve rights and people who don't, and I don't really see things that way. Um, and yeah, so I think the mutual aid and everything for unhoused folks and
But,
people that are really struggling as a result of this, and additionally just trying to offer alternatives to resources that are constantly being taken away from people, whether those be whether those be, sort of basic benefits and, basic benefits that people have of trying to survive. Or yeah, just this insane pressure and repression that's been putting on our immigrant communities here, which, I think is one of the things that makes this country good in a way, and like the things that, and this melting pots of cultures is like
yeah,
what makes this place interesting. It's what, like, it's what makes great art. That was what makes great can maintain great community. And and I don't even think, and I it's a shame that just the simple concept of supporting people, and and trying to, and ideologies that are seemingly Christian, as we know them, are really being pushed on marginalized people in the name of that,
yeah,
in the name of that ideology. And so I just think I
it's beautiful what you're saying
yeah, I think it's just
about,
I
yeah,
think I think mutual aid is still one of
yeah,
the greatest resistances that we
yeah,
can offer as a community to people.
yeah,
It's just the simplicity of like, well, this isn't here. It should be here from the people that are, in power, and like the people that are setting laws and telling us a way to survive, and
yeah,
giving us these
right.
inclinations that anybody can work and maintain themselves, and they just simply aren't. So,
Yeah,
I mean, making an effort to just feed
yeah,
unhoused people,
yeah, exactly.
try to offer support and shelter when
Yeah,
natural disasters happen, which could have been avoidable if we had
yeah,
people in power that gave a shit about the earth. I
again.
to me those ideologies, they're not. I mean, they become political because because people make them political.
Exactly.
And I don't, and if that's the way it's going to prosper, that's the way it is. I don't even see that as a political ideology of like,
It's just,
why is the, it does
um,
it just seems kind of ludicrous to me to point it towards like one narrative.
yeah, I know, and as being me myself, one of the country that has been the leader when all this fascist was born, and still kind of, it's, let's say, floating around. When you see like he, at least for Sicily where I'm living, where there has been let's say other powers except the government, but there as today, but also historically, has been as well a melting pot. There's Arabs, Norman, Spanish, French. There has never been, and now we have Chinese. There's just all over the world. So when we walk towards the city center, you can smell different type of foods.
Yeah.
That's so, and trying to block a flux of people arriving because they need help. It's like and just putting in another country, like, okay, that's your, no, it's your business, just take care of yourself, take it, here you are, friends, and then leaving them hanging in the sea. It's like, what are you doing? Maybe out, that's leaving the mutual help, because who knows, there are here a lot of guys, like trying to help, but then you see these guys, these people running from bad situation, staying with who? Weirdly enough, a couple of days I was in the center of the city and I saw a nun. I don't even how I don't know about nothing about the order of the. I don't even care. But I saw this nun with this. There were a lot of kids coming from North Africa. They asked me to buy a book, if I wanted to buy a book for them to read. And at the first moment, you're like, Catholic Church and doesn't add up. But there was something that I said, okay, if I'm actually buying a book myself with I'm giving to the kid the book, maybe it's something that I can do. Maybe I can even do it with myself and go and give it to them, give it to other people. And we had a lot of people here that are trying to help, because what we can do, at least in this country, is just literally giving my clothes to the other person in
Yeah.
because we have to get outside the box, because sometimes, especially being from Italy, it's saddened to say, but the church, yeah, it can help, but until a certain point, and not all the churches are
Yeah.
helping but that's happening in every country all over the world. But
Absolutely.
as you
Yeah.
said, how it should be is like, people should also tend and hand, whether it's for homeless people, which I think, and here you know better than me, but as far as I saw, United States or in general North America is a big rate of homeless people, and
Yes. And growing exponentially every day.
uh,
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, there's so many things at play. Like, if you study, for in speaking in terms directly of like the rise of the concept of fascism, it's like it always stems out of some place where there's, where there is some kind of turmoil and repression already existing, and and especially if it's quality of life and economics and everything, it's a really easy moment, as we
exactly,
have seen historically, to push the narrative as to why those things are, and push it away from why things actually are the way they are, and
exactly,
it's just like it's easy to it's an easy one to just target, I mean, it's easy for billionaires
yeah,
who are the problem to push the narrative in another
yeah, of
direction and
course,
say,
yeah.
no, actually, this is your enemy, this is the problem, and
And
everything.
also there are,
And then even in addition to that, like if we're speaking in terms of immigration and such, it's there's this overwhelming disconnect of just the history that my country, the States, stands on, and why it is the United States, and we like colonialism is completely looked over, and those other things, but even just neo-colonialism in general, it's like a lot of people, there's a reason the Western world is the West. There's a reason the first world is the first world. Like these things, it's like it's doesn't. That's not just. That's not just because of happenstance and whatever luck or anything like that, or that kind of progression comes from taking from other people, and
exactly,
a lot of these, and there's this disconnect that, like,
yeah,
why are they coming over here? It's like because we did something to drain their resources away. So now they have nowhere to go, and now now there's civil war. Now
exactly,
there's their own like version of what we're kind of seeing now
yeah,
among other
exactly,
folks. And it's sad because it's like it's really misdirected.
yeah.
It's just very misdirected when it could be directed to the right source and potentially
Exactly. No,
unified.
exactly, because sometimes if we would like to know something about as a version of something that is going on, we could just ask directly to the people that are living the situation. Like, for example, people wants to, I don't know, donate. They maybe think, oh, my homeless in America. Yeah, sure. Maybe they just can talk someone living in a big city I don't
Yeah.
know, New York, and maybe just asking how the situation. Of course, not someone that has there is billionaire, because they are not, of course, not gonna see it. But just anyone I can see it, just and ask. And
Yeah.
or if they want to know about in general, like they want to Contracult Fund and Contracult Fund, they want just to support one of your cause. Maybe they have a doubt. They just can simply ask you, like, what it stands about. What can you give me more info about that? Or just stay a little bit far from what's going on the outlets, because it's misunderstanding a lot, because I read a lot of things about also misunderstanding about Italy, because a lot.
Mm.
Like, oh, I don't want to make, but like the amazing guy, like ruler of the cat. Wow, yeah, sure, ruler. Wow, that's. I mean, yeah, sure. The economy changed. Really? How so? I mean, why I see people like my dad, like like same age of my father, that exactly like my father, got throwing out, like looking at the garbage for food. That's something that I am 50, 20 years ago I could even maybe because I was still a teenager, but I couldn't even think about to see someone that has could be like my dad or my mom just going through. So we are talking about middle class, not talking about
Yeah.
high, we're just looking out in the garbage of who's next. So that's what you think, that we don't know who's next, we don't know what
Right.
will happen tomorrow. And a good action make today is a good action repay tomorrow. Like, karma is a wheel, and I think always, but because of course we don't have to act good because we expect something good, but because it came from the heart. and
Yes.
and I think that also because, as I said, putting all those let's say those fundraising, those thing on your link tree, you could have just put your own album, your own YouTube link, your own last project. It shows a big philanthropic side of you, and I think it's important, being a musician, an artist in general, having a philanthropic side and a big art,
Yeah.
because that's also says a lot about you, that you care about others, not only about people that could listen to your music, but it means also that actually you care about your fan as well. That's what it's important, that I would like to people to understand, because that was,
Yeah.
oh wow, what there's a how many causes here I was reading, like that's something that I have to ask you, Travis, because it's really important to mark, to just to get to say out loud, because there's not many people. There are people in that world that are really with the big art, and they're doing a lot in the first line and everything, even behind the scenes. There are a lot of good people, but as well there are a lot of bad people. So when there are good people doing something, just we have to point it out. So that was
Yeah.
at least my way of pointing out that you're doing also for people that really just want to get to know something. They can ask to any friends, because that are in that place, even just all over the world, in those horrible wars. So let's ask directly to the people involved there, maybe living this, never believe what we see in the
Yeah.
this
That's
media
right.
world. So, and in general, like for just making a step back, because I know that was an heavy topic, but it was also a way to just see another side of an artist, let's say. Maybe
Sure.
so we know your artistic side, but this was also, I think, your personal own side. And making a step back. So I don't want to call it EP, but the score that is
Hmm.
available on Spotify,
Hmm.
because people can find it. It's free, blah blah blah. The movie will be the short, yeah, I call it the movie, the corto, as I said, in Cinecittà in Rome, is gonna be soon available soon. I think after a while it's gonna be available on
Yeah. I think so.
platform. And what people can do to support the independent scene?
Um, Go to film festivals.
Okay.
Find, I think that's a cool way to start. And then just try to keep your ear to the ground of things that you might not know, that maybe don't have major productions right now. I think even, there's a lot of people doing campaigns on Kickstarter
Yeah.
and other crowdfundings to get projects made, I mean,
Um,
see what's just a couple dollars to somebody to
oh,
help make their movie is helpful too. And I think even can get that's even a that even could be a good way to network for something
yeah.
of like I want to, I've told that to people that want to start out in film composing and everything. I'm like, go find three short films on Kickstarter and see if they need composers. Talk to them about it, like anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I think just like supporting the film the same way you would an underground music scene is it because it's very similar, and like you'll come to find that like it's especially in like horror and genre, it's like they have always been those filmmakers and creators have always kind of been the outcasts of that world that they're in,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
they're fun. They make great stuff, and they're, and we all figure it out. And yeah, it's a good it's good to just start there, I think.
okay, so and that's all like in general. And for what, of course, about what we can say for your own personal like composing project or Contracult project,
Mhm.
actual in the for the at least for at the ending of 2025, because for the 2026 we will see. For what can you say? Of course, there are some projects, there are something going on, or just simply enjoy the end of the year in these 2 months.
I have some stuff coming out next year. I have there's another film that I scored called Carry the Darkness that's um that I guess I could say got I was in a really solid festival run this year
Okay.
and got distribution recently. So I'll be releasing that soundtrack next year.
That's nice.
And yeah, just a few other things under my full name, Travis Sedg
Okay.
Bacon, and just trying to kind of build that artistry up. And then I also have a solo EP that's
Oh,
coming out next year too. So
really? That's
yeah,
cool. I mean, that's a big
yeah,
news though. So that's so that deserves an interview aside, because that's gonna be
yeah,
that's diving into your mind and let's say to your
yeah.
artistic mind. That's gonna be cool. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
So we will talk then for that EP are going on when it's so and
Sounds
it's
good.
and we will have some vibes at the Contracult, or will be a completely different type of sound for at least what you could
I don't want to say too much because
okay
it's
could be
it's half a departure,
okay
and then there's a lot of it that
okay
sounds kind of like
okay
Contracult as
okay
well. It's an interesting, yeah, it's
so
I would say it's something new. I would say
yeah
like
okay
more than anything, like, it's something new. I think it's unique. Everybody I've showed it to and, shared it with, like the one thing they say, like it or hate it, they never heard it before. So
ooh
I'll take that compliment over anything else.
so that's cool though.
Yes, but we'll be in touch on it. You'll get some
Yeah,
exclusive.
of course. So I'm looking forward. And of course, like I said, if I can invest some because in life I always right now, unfortunately, works everything with having contact with other people and good if I can have some call from some festival or whatever in Europe, I always pass it to you. Just
Thank you.
because I always have because you're a great project for me in my from my point of view, and I would love to see some even just it doesn't have to be like the most alternative festival something,
Yeah.
but it just be really cool seeing you play there because of course but the 2026 are already full, so there could be 2027 but then it will be in US 2027. I'm planning to be my 40th birthday in US, so it's gonna be the opposite. Let's don't say the age, but that's that. So but I will try to see if I can give at least some names or something or even some contact myself, and then if you're interested, because maybe you can check in the program whatever and see if you're interested or not.
Cool. That'd be great.
Yeah, and thank you again, Travis, and good luck with everything, and thank you for the time again. I don't take it for granted as usual, and because it's your day time and it's my evening time, so I don't take it for granted. You can be outside and just or sleep. It's Sunday, so have a great rest of, and especially after live show yesterday, and have a great rest of the week. It's over. Rest of the day, and looking forward from hearing more about your own project, and let's stay in touch, and I will put all the links of each single thing you send me on the info box so at least people can know where to go.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, and have a good rest
Thank
of
you
the
so
day. Thank you so much, Chris.
much.
It was a pleasure.
Bye.